Okay, so we have a thumb up. A little bit awkward to stand here just quiet and just look, but hi, my name is Mariana Vnuk. I'm so happy to see all the faces. You never know when you don't how do you say it, when you don't have to sign up exactly how many people will there be, but I'm really happy to see you all. Yes, my name is Mariana, and I am a strategist and copywriter with inclusive communication as a specialty at the agency OMI. We have 6 offices from Luleå in the north to Stockholm in the south. And I also run this, Normkollen, an Instagram account where I write about the importance of norms and norm creativity and inclusive communication. My plan for this 40 minutes is to give you some good tools, or basically 4 tips to get your bosses or supervisors or colleagues to take action on issues related to gender equality and inclusion. And when I'm out like this and speak, I like to talk with you. So if you have any questions, or if you just want to say something, just raise your hand and I stop and we talk. That is much more fun. But I will start here and with a little small description of current situation. And many of you are probably already aware of this. It's no news, but the tech industry is male-dominated. We can see there are about 30% women in Swedish tech. And if we look at the age group 16 to 30, there are only 7%. And the analysis and communication agency Insight Intelligence, they have made an analysis, and they see that there are many women that are interested in the business, but not so many of them are willing to enter the business, and they are not attracted to the industry, and they consider it to be exclusionary, boyish, and lacks role models. And this is no surprise. According to Rättvisaren, it's a report from Mediekompaniet. They have looked or examined the Swedish representation in media, in news media, and they see that there is 0% women in tech reporting, 100% men. And when we talk about role models, look at these 3 pictures. They have something in common. Can you guess what? Vad sa du? Yeah. I thought of representation when I think of representation when I see these pictures, and you're right. This is Catherine Switzer. In 1967, she ran the Boston Marathon as the first woman. It wasn't exactly forbidden to run the race, but no one thought it would that you could do it. When the organizer realized that there was a woman in the race, they tried to pull her off the track. But her friends, her boyfriend and other male friends, they start to run around her and liksom protect her, so she could finish the race. And this one, maybe some of you remember it. It's Lukas Moodysson's movie Fucking Åmål from 1998. And when this movie came, it was groundbreaking. It showed two girls falling in love with each other, and they still read Veckorevyn, and they drank O'boy, and yeah, it was a teenage love movie, but it was two girls. And it may sound today like no big deal, but I remember I actually saw this movie in 1998, and it was an eye-opener, and the feeling was, wow, you can do this. You never saw like the same-sex love like this. So I actually went home, broke up with my boyfriend, and told my friend that I was in love with her. So. And this one is from last year. 2023, Disney revealed that the black actress Halle Bailey would play Ariel in the new version of The Little Mermaid. And maybe some of you remember this, but the whole world of mostly young black girls, they cried from happiness just to see their favorite character looking like them. So role models and representation are very important. So this is my first tip. For those of you who have leading roles in the industry, show the diversity that exists and do it in the right way. And what is the right way? Well, I think it's include without highlighting. Often, when you want to highlight, for example, women in male-dominated industry, you highlight the fact that there is a woman, and the woman appears in pictures or takes part in interviews about what it's like to be a woman in the industry. By doing this, you reinforce norms and stereotypes. But if we instead include without highlighting, we can better see ourselves in working in the industry. I think this is a very good example of how you can do it in the right way. This is a Christmas ad from Åhléns, and it shows Christmas decorations and cozy clothes, and you can see that this couple, they show Christmas cuddle. They're not showing same-sex love. Do you follow? Yeah. Good. Okay, but why is it a problem if an industry are male or female dominated, that it doesn't have so much diversity? Why is it a problem? And they have done a lot of studies around this. And companies and organizations that work on inclusion and diversity receive, for example, better work environment, better productivity, better creativity. And for example, in where I come from, the communication industry, this is quite a big deal. If you look at, for example, this, we can create more ideas, better ideas. Actually, 10 times more ideas. If you are a company that works on these questions and you also have a group of people that are, there are a lot of diversity. And you also see this. Companies and organizations that work with these issues make better decisions in up to 87% of the time. It's pretty much. And you can think, who is not willing to work with these issues? Actually, is a lot. Only 25% of the Swedish companies actively work on inclusion issues. And this is really bad. So my second tip is give them facts and numbers. And by them I mean your supervisor, your boss, your colleagues. For some people, the facts and numbers are the most important. And I think when I think about your business, I think that there are, you can say it's a war out there. People seeking talent, and if you look at young people, they don't want to work at companies with crappy values. And those who don't keep up with these issues, they will be left behind. And I think it's also important to say that I don't think it's your job to push these issues in your workplaces. But there is so much knowledge missing. So those who are in the majority need to actively work to raise this awareness. But I think we have to remind them in different ways. So this brings us to tip number 3, word of the week, or veckans ord in Swedish. When I was in school, we had a homework assignment called Word of the Week, eller veckans ord. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of it. And basically it means you have to learn a word, how to spell it, and how to use it. And this is an easy way to get people to see things from another perspective. So I think it's pretty simple. You can choose a word, you can print it out, you can put it on the coffee machine, in the toilet rooms, or send an email. For example, this word, homosociality. This word, it's a concept that explains how men identify with, seek out and select and refer to other men. And this is the reason why other men wants to hire or hang with or lift up other men who are similar to themselves. And this creates a negative spiral. So if you are in a male-dominated industry, it just goes on and on and on. But I think if if we throw this word in their faces, maybe they start to think, if we're lucky. And if you want to take it one step further, you can always play a game called mansbingo, or male bingo. I tried this once in my not at OMI, but another workplace I was in. And it's pretty simple. When you refer to 3 men in a row, you just shout bingo. And the thing is, you're not going to tell anyone you're playing this. So if I was referring to a study made by a man during this lecture, and then maybe I talked about Lucas Moodysson, and then I lifted up a third man, then some of you could just shout bingo, and I think most people get a little bit, oh, what's happening? And then you can just sit down, relax, and tell the people what just happened. So, because I think we need to have fun also, not just fight. Mm. Hmm?
I think both of those concepts we here can also use them in the positive, like we can use it with women. Like we can both reinforce each other, like both sexuality, and we can do the bingo when finally
Yes.
here we are actually highlighted.
Yes. Super good. And my fourth and final tip is about recruitment. Recruitment is one of the best things to start with if you want to get a quick results from your equality and diversity work. But many supervisors or people who are in charge of the recruitment, they go with their gut feeling. I like this person. He or she looks like me. I want to hire her, or I hire my friend. And they don't know interview techniques. They don't know how to assess people. And a very important thing is they don't know their own prejudice when it's time to hire, for example. And if we look at the research again, it shows that yes, we like to recruit people that who are similar to ourselves. But we can also see that women they're not willing to sign up for an recruitment ad if they're not filling all the requirements. And if we look at men, they can apply for a job if they meet 50-60% of the requirements. So this is also a job we can do. We can look at how does the recruitment process look like. How do we design the recruitment ads? What pictures do we use? What words do we use? And where do we place the ads? In which channels? And this one, it's a hard fact that you can throw on the table for those who needs it. A minority should be at least 30% to have a real voice and influence. And that means that if you are one single woman or maybe 2 in a pretty big company, it's not enough. It is at 30% that we can see that something really starts to happen. That was fast. But now we can talk. What do you think?
I need to give you the microphone, sorry. About the slide where you showed that only 25% actively work on issues, diversity issues at the company. It is, for me, if I'm looking for a job, it's hard to know whether they actually work on diversity issues, because they always say they have lots of values. It says here and there. What should I look for? What should they say? Would you workshops, or do you have an idea?
I think it's a really good question, because when I'm out talking like this, I think the most important things for people, organizations, or companies when they want to work with these issues is trovärdighet. How do you say it in English? Yeah, credibility. And I think I think you should ask questions. What do you do to make it better? And if they say that they take actions on things, like we do everything from lönekartläggningar to medarbetarsamtal, and maybe they have a policy, and you can also see that they take actions. There is something called aktiva åtgärder that you have to do. So I think I would be inspired if I met someone who wanted proof, who asked, "Can I see what you're doing?" So ask, because everyone can write something in their web page. Like we think vi är för jämlikhet. Well, good job. So see how much action they do.
I will not say a name, but there is a recruitment platform just for women that what aims to do is help with exactly that question. So before you accept a role or be connected with her for a role, you can see the level of diversity and inclusion of the company that is approaching you. Should I say the name?
Yes, please.
It's called FemHire. I'm the co-founder.
Oh, nice.
And it has much more, but that's for... You can approach me later.
That's super good. You can do that with movies too. Bechdel test. If you want to watch a movie that is, where women also exists and have their own will. Good.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
I don't know. I'm going to try to phrase it as a question, but it might sound like a rant. I used to be quite active with different organizations that promote women in tech and so on when I was studying. And I don't know if it's just a dip, but I can sometimes feel exhausted by always having to be the one to bring these topics up at work. And honestly, sometimes I just really want to be a person in tech. I don't want to be a woman in tech. I want to be a mediocre programmer. And I always feel that you always have to be really, really good to even be seen as just that you're decent. Do you have any tips for that? Because like honestly, I just want my non-female coworkers to take the lead. Like it's tiring being the one, even though we have a really good like a support network and ERG at our company. It's like you're lonely in the day-to-day life. Do you have any tips?
I think, like I said, I don't think it's our job to push these issues. I think it's the I'm really bad at English. Ledningsgrupp. What? Management. Yeah. It's their job. So when I work with companies, we always start in the top. So there is, because I think it's very common that there is one or two persons, like you say, you have a passion for these questions, you think it's very important, and you are the one who has to push it. And this, then if you get tired and start a new job, then no one are going to do it. So then it's even more important that you start in the top and you have a structure, how you should work with this. Everybody knows this is what we do in this company, and you don't have to do it alone. And I also think it's really sad, but it's the truth that women have to prove themselves much more than men. I changed my Facebook cover image yesterday to a question: what would a mediocre white man do? It's like a good motto. We are enough.
I've worked for quite some time, and I think a good saying is one woman in a board, that's a hostage. And I was going to say something else, so now I forgot because of that hostage. But walk the talk is also, everybody says, yeah, we're inclusive, but to know if they're actually meaning it, I think you need to ask for examples. How? What do you mean you're inclusive? What does that mean? So, and I think also women, now I got it. During these years, I've also been told many times, but you're a woman, you have to work twice as hard to get there. And I've refused. I've said, okay, why? That's bullshit. So I've said, like, no, you do it. And I started saying, because I was saying yes all the time. And what happens when you say yes all the time? You get overloaded. You get burned out. And it's like, no, hell no. You're not going to burn me out because you're like doing career on me, on my expense. So say no. And also step forward. Don't accept and apply for the job, even though it's just 50%. Yeah. Do as the guys do.
Yes.
So go.
I have a question about conscious recruitment. So I work in a team. We have 8 people, 7 males, and I'm the only woman now. So we have 3 open positions now. And I really want to find a female engineer, right? And my manager is on board. I work in a big company. We got assistants to write it using the right words, more soft, focused on empowerment. And then we post it on LinkedIn and we get male candidates. And then we ask, okay, can we do a step extra? So we want to hire also. We got a tip to say that if you have more female like me, right? So if I repost it, so people will say, okay, I will work with at least more female, and we get male candidates. So now the question is like, what maybe you or someone else have tips, like where do you find we have positions, right? We want to hire, but it's also this there is always a limit, like how long you can wait until the right candidate, because you have to fill the position and there are male candidates, so it's like a loop, how to break it. And also, like, there are no magic words, even if you write it, and be as soft as possible. And if you write apply, they don't apply. Where do you find them?
I think the first thing, I don't think you can write a recruitment ad for women. You have to work with your values, with your work environment for a long time. You have to have credibility, because otherwise people are going to feel fooled when they arrive to the work. But I think it's pretty common that people say there is no tech women. There is no women in whatever. But that is, I think then you just look at your network. You have to put more time, more effort, like you say. You have to go into a new network. If I had a tech company, I would be, for example, here, just to meet the people. So I think you have to work harder, and maybe look outside the box where you used to be. Maybe LinkedIn is not the right place. Maybe you
be reported to write in the ad that you're looking for women.
Yeah.
Primarily. Would it be like?
Yeah, you can do that.
I don't know, maybe it wouldn't scare women off. I don't know, but what if you write a line that too? Looking forward for women to apply.
I just have a tiny add-on here. I'm working as a recruiter within both hardware and software, and I have this problem like every day. What I heard some other recruiter does is like have a look on, first of all, if we have like 6 requirements in a profile we're looking for, and mostly the manager wants to have a very senior person, always like 5+ years. No one asks why, really, but and we have all these requirements. Men tend to apply for a job that they aren't underqualified for. I go over that every day, like recently graduated from electronics engineer program like KTH or similar. And if I don't have any like source at this moment, but I know for a fact that women tend to not apply for jobs if they're we have 5 requirements and we're eligible to 4. They tend to like, oh, I'm just going to save them time and not apply at all. First of all, don't be that woman. Just apply anyway. And like I heard someone else said that adding a question in the ad that says, apply anyway. Did you don't fill in all the requirements? Apply anyway. So just one small thing, and also like if you're working as a recruiter or HR, like challenge the manager all the time. Why do I have this senior person, for instance? Like we have to look on possibilities as well, like someone to grow into the role more.
And I think in the tech industry, maybe you write all these technical things that you want the person to be able to do. Maybe you should ask that you're looking for something else. At Omai, we do that a lot. We're not looking at a special education or you have to be this or that designer. We're looking for nice persons. And I think that's why we have a group that is really warm and open. But I have when we talked about how we can take action as a company. If we take, for example, H&M, they say that or maybe they print a T-shirt with girl power or something, and then they have these white skinny models, and they have factories in poor countries where women and children made their clothes. That's not credibility. But if you look at, for example, understatement underwear, it's a how do you say, lingerie brand. It's a company that is run by women, and when they design the clothes, they think of what do women like. Maybe it's not so nice with byglar. Maybe we could put the seam somewhere else because this is how the female body looks like, or there is no the first thing when they design isn't the male gaze, it's the women. And they also have they have decided that their ads or their commercials is a lot of different bodies, body types. They don't retouche their pictures, and they also they only work with factories that they know are run by women, and they know that they have rules about payments and breaks and so on. So they do something. They can stand for that. They work for the women.
I don't really have a question. I have a tip for the lady looking for people like engineers. There's a lot of niche Facebook groups where you can post your ads, like Women in Tech in Sweden or Women in UX in Sweden, that you can find. And if there isn't one in your trade, just create one.
Thank you very much. Hi, my name is Misha. Thank you so much for this. I have a question about allyship, because right now I'm on a job hunt. And the first thing I notice is like screening the website, the socials, the LinkedIn. I look for people who look like me as a person of color. And I also want to be in a place where I can cultivate my creativity, my leadership skills, where I don't have to people please, for example, or feel like I'm standing in the way, or feel like I'm being too loud if I voice my needs, for example. So how do I spot allyship and what should I look for?
Can you? We have an answer.
Yes, I'm gonna answer this one. At least for me, like you can go to a company and be like, "Hi, within IT, as you've said, there are like 30% women. So if you ask a company like, "Hi, like what's the percentage of women?" Most of them will be like, "Sorry, it's not as high as we would like." Da 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 da. And at least for me, when I worked at different companies, if a company is non-homogeneous in other ways, that helps me. So, for example, okay, you might have a majority men, but are all of those from Stockholm? Or are they from different parts of Sweden? Are they from different parts of Europe, the world, whatever? What's their education? Have all of them gone to the same school? Like, there are many different ways to have diversity.
Yes.
And I found that if, like, there might not be a high percentage of women, but there are other types of diversity, that still helps me.
But can you explain a little bit more about your question?
Sure, I can do that.
You're going to get the microphone.
Me as a person, I'm also here with the organization Changers Hub, which I recommend everyone to look into. And when I found Changers Hub a couple of years ago, I finally felt like I found a place where I could relax, like my shoulders went down and I could like focus on creativity and knowledge in a different way because I didn't feel like an outsider. No one asked me specifically, where are you from? To understand my socioeconomic status, for example. I felt like I was welcome. So I also want to find a workplace where the allyship, where people are aware of this. They have normkollen in their brain and everything. They have the glasses on where they see things like with those eyes. But maybe you could explain a little bit how you work with that at Oh My, especially with the culture.
I'm just going to look at the time. We have a few minutes left. First of all, when I go out and talk like this, I normally don't talk about just gender. So I always look at the whole diversity spectrum, and I think it's, how should I say this? I think once again it starts with knowledge. You have to, when I work with groups, especially management groups, we always start talking about norms and privilege and culture, because I think everybody needs to be able to do right and to be able to do it right. You have to have the knowledge. You have to be grounded in these issues. So and it's not an easy job. You have to read, you have to talk a lot, and so on. For example, an easy thing to do is to we all have different kind of meetings. We have one meeting once a week, and sometimes I can take maybe I have seen an ad that I think it's really good based on these things we're talking about right now, and then I just can, in the meeting I would like everyone to listen, look at this, and then we talk about it, and it's pretty easy just to start somewhere, because I think most people think it's a really big thing to work with these issues, and then you don't do it because you don't know where to start, and it feels heavy or overwhelmed or something. So just start with small things like word of the week, or maybe you have written an article that is bad or good, and you talk about it. And then when you least expect, maybe your colleagues are talking about these things without you pushing it, or Thank you. Thank you, everyone.